There we go. We're live. Hi, everybody. I got the legend here, one of the greats, Rick Barry. This is Virtual Happy Hour presented by Michelob Ultra this time. So we got people filing in here, I believe. They'll be coming in soon. But Rick, how are you, man? How's everything?
Everything's great under the circumstances that exist. I mean, I don't think anybody ever envisioned in their lifetime that they would have to go through something as bizarre as what we're going through here.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think there's a bit of an overreaction to it, but you got to be safe. So in life, you got to sometimes, you know what they say, the old cliche, play the cards that you're dealt. We've been dealt a very bad hand. So if you're a bridge player, you can understand it. Sometimes in bridge, you got to play a bad hand and you try to make the most of it. So that's what we're trying to do here, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. Where are you?
I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida right now. Okay.
Florida.
That's a nice place to quarantine.
Yeah, it's actually pretty nice here. I mean,
they
closed the golf courses. They shut down my pickleball courts, which I wasn't happy about, and shut down.
We got to talk about that later. Pickleball. I need a full explanation on what that is. But let's talk about your career to start with. So, prior to the 2014-15 season, the last time the Warriors won a championship was 1975. So, can you speak to being on that team, what it was like to win, and maybe was there a point in this season where the possibility of winning a championship became real to you?
Well, we were picked to not even be a playoff team at the beginning of the season. After we had gone to training camp in Hawaii, and I saw the group, and we had our new center in Clifford Ray and the trade for Nate Thurman. And then I had an opportunity to see Keith Wilkes at the time, our rookie, and Phil Smith, and realized that these guys are really good players for rookies. And then we had, veteran Jeff Mullins and some of our other guys doing it, Charles Dudley and George Johnson, and we did Derek Dickey. We had a lot of really good guys who were great role players. I think we all felt that was a crock, to pick us not to even make the playoffs. We thought that we could do that. We got off to a really good start. I think we won a bunch of games to start the season. And I think we just gained more and more confidence as we went on. Al probably made. I joked around when I was at one of the functions for Al Ados, our coach, and said the two greatest coaching moves that Al ever made in his life were, number one, bringing in Bud Presley from Menlo Atherton College to come in and talk to us about defense. He was crazy. I mean, I still remember him jumping in front of Clifford Ray, taking a charge and knocked him back, and he rolled over 2 or 3 times in the somersault until he killed him. And getting us to be really committed to playing defense. And so that was a huge help. And I think that was one of the best moves that Al made, certainly in the preseason. And then his second best move was in the Western Conference Finals in the third quarter, when I was stinking up the gym and was something like 2 for 14 from the field. Tell me how many coaches do it. He took me out of the game. He took his leading scorer out of the game in the third quarter when we were trailing. And my teammates did such a great job. They held Chicago scoreless for like 7.5 minutes. George Johnson was even in there, and Clifford Ray and I were cheering like crazy for the guy, saying, please give us another chance. And they got us, back where we had a chance to do something. And Al didn't even put me back in until not at the start of the fourth quarter, but I even sat the beginning part of the fourth quarter as well for quite a while. And I say that was a great coaching move on his part. He let me have a chance to sit there, not to self-destruct. If you remember, Pat Riley had John Stark self-destructing against the Rockets in the game, and he left him in there, and John just kept getting worse and worse and worse. He should have taken him out of the game like Al did with me. And it turned out to be fine. And fortunately, when I came back in, I played the last 6 or 7 minutes like I should have been playing the whole game, and wound up making some shots. And I remember a pass when I went up for a jump shot, and George Johnson rolled to the basket, and I was able to hit George for an easy basket. And it was just a great comeback. The crowd was going nuts, and that was cool. That's the thing I remember most about it, is that game 7 against Chicago. We confounded all the experts and all by doing what we did. But then of course they made even the bigger stink about it. Well, these guys are going to get crushed in the finals. Biggest mismatch in the history of the NBA. This is a joke. And we pulled off the biggest upset in the history of the league. I mean, to this day, my teammates, I feel my teammates have gotten shortchanged. I got recognition because I was MVP of the series. Yeah. But to not have done some kind of a special on our team, and even with all the specials they're doing now, and they're going back and talking about stuff in the past, why that Golden State Warriors 74-75 team has not had something special done about them. The biggest upset in the history of the NBA Finals, and they have done nothing about it. We didn't get on the cover of Sports Illustrated. It's probably the most overlooked accomplishment in major sports in our country. I'm serious. I'm really dead serious about this. My guys got.
I hear you.
We won as a team, and that's what it's about. It's about a team. It's not about individuals, and you don't win by only one player doing it. And the guys were unbelievable in that game 7. I can remember that sitting there. I remember the first shot I took when I came in. I was about 18 feet from the basket, right in front of our bench on the northwestern side of the arena. I was open. A lot of guys might not have taken the shot. Shit, I had nowhere to go but up. I was already the GOAT. Not back then. It was not the GOAT, the greatest of all time. It was the GOAT, the bad guy. You sucked. Okay. And so I made that shot. And then, so from then on, we went out and pulled out a victory, and it was awesome. I have great memories of that.
Yeah. And so you just mentioned that you won finals MVP. I'm guessing that wasn't a goal of yours, but what was that like for you to win that? And you were just talking about documentaries, and I'm sure you're watching The Last Dance right now.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts on that too. But first, talk about winning finals MVP, and what was that like for you at that point in your career?
You know what? We won the championship. That's the thing that I cared about the most. I mean, my championship ring, I have a Hall of Fame ring. I have a top 50 ring. I only wear my championship ring. I didn't play for individual honors. Basketball is not a sport about individual honors. And that's one of the reasons why we were successful, is because everybody took their ego. And I tell people when I to teams, you need to take your ego and stick it in the closet until the season's over, because it's no longer about you. It's about the team. And you have to be willing to do whatever it is that's necessary to help your team win. And if it requires sacrifice on your part, by God, you sacrifice. But you play the game the right way. And that's the thing I loved about this Warriors team over that run they had. We'll eliminate this. And it might be good that they're wiping this season out, because, it's one that you want to forget if you're a Warriors fan after the 5 years they had prior to that. But that's why they were so much fun to watch, because they played the game the way we played it. Unselfish, pass, move, cut. It wasn't all about the one-on-one crap that goes on with so many teams over here that I can't even stand watching and would hate to be a team member of a team that played like that. And that's the beauty of what we had. Everybody cheered for one another. It was like a family. We go out to the movies together. We went to dinner together. And one of the things we talked about, and even Bill King, I remember our great announcer who's no longer with us, unfortunately, remember that it was great that we won on the road. Usually you have to win at home. But what it did by winning on the road, it gave us a chance to all bond together, for us to enjoy the moment of doing something so incredible, so special, and for us to share it as a team without the family members and everybody else who would have been pulling us this way and that way if we're at home. So it made it a very, very special opportunity for us to enjoy something so special.
That's pretty cool. I always looked at it like, if you're the best player on the team, which you were, it's your role. You owe it to the team to be great and be aggressive to some degree, which you were. And that comes with the individual accolades like you won, but it's probably never your goal. At least it shouldn't be, I don't think, as the best player. And that's something they recognize you for, but it's just your role on the team. That's how I feel like Steph feels, but he's unselfish when he needs to be unselfish. He makes the right basketball play. And the Warriors have a plethora of those type of guys that are really good, and they owe it to the team to make sure they play their best and they do what their strengths are. If it's shooting, like Clay and Steph, they owe it to the team to do that, but they're still going to be unselfish, and it's all about team and joy and playing together, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, the thing is, first of all, you owe it to yourself to give your best effort and do the best that you can, and do what it is that the coach asks you to do. And if you have a problem with that, you meet with him personally and you talk to him about it and everything. You don't go to the newspapers. You don't create a problem. You don't go talking to your teammates. If you have an issue, you go talk to your coach and you try to get it worked out, because you and your coach have to be on the same page in order for it to work, especially if you're one of the key players to the team. And to show you about Steph, he's a 2-time MVP, and he was willing to let KD come in here and a lot of times be the guy. And he just wants to win. That's what I love about Steph and Clay. They play the game the right way. Same with Draymond. They played the game the right way. And if you really watched them closely and you understood the game, the only time they got in trouble, when a team had a chance to beat them, two things had to happen, especially when they had the big three guys. Number one was they relied too much sometimes on KD, and it was too much, and they went too much one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other time when they got in trouble, and well, there's three things. The second thing would be if they didn't keep their focus defensively to really make the effort to play the tough defense, which you have to do to create the opportunities and the fast break and things of that nature. That's the thing that it's a very critical element of what you have to do in order to be able to win the game. And then basically, as I say, play the game the way it's meant to be played. I mean, this is one of the problems that a lot of teams had. They're not willing to go ahead and sacrifice. Guys are too willing to do things and have to play and worry about what they're going to do on their own. And that's not the way it should be. And so, and then at times the Warriors would do, and they beat themselves in that one series. They relied on the 3-point shot sometimes to a fault. And that's what killed them in Game 7 against Cleveland. The last part of that game, they never scored a point. 4 minutes and 20 or 40 seconds, whatever it was, at home. But they took nothing but 3-point shots. Why? I mean, go to the basket, get fouled, make the other team play from behind. As a player, how much easier was it for Kyrie Irving to take a 3-point shot with the game tied late in the Game 7 of a fourth quarter? It's not a hard thing to do because if you miss, it hasn't done anything. You're still tied. But if you take that 3-pointer when you're down 2 or 3 and you miss it, the other team goes down to scores, game could be over. It's a big difference psychologically to take a shot when you're tied as opposed to taking a shot when you're behind.
You're right. Totally true. And you mentioned The Last Dance. One of the things I love about watching The Last Dance is the fact that they're showing the struggle and the things they went through as a team, as a championship team, trying to reach that ultimate goal. So what was it like for you and maybe some of the struggles? Can you speak to some of the struggles you guys went through in that 1975 season? And obviously maybe you weren't thinking from the start that, you guys were a favorite to win the championship, but during that season, what were some of the struggles you went through as a team trying to reach that ultimate goal?
I don't really think we had any major struggles. We just had a little period like most teams do. There's only been a couple of teams, I think, in the history of the league, the Warriors being one of them, when they set the record for the most wins in Chicago, where they didn't have a period of a couple of weeks where you struggle as a team and you just don't play as well as you're capable of playing. And we went through a little period like that. But once we got through that and we got back to playing our way, I think we were extremely confident when we were playing at the end of the season and going into the playoffs. And I really believe, I thought that we had a chance to do something really special. I really did. As the season progressed and all, I saw us bonding together. I saw us improving in areas and everybody committed to winning. And everybody was willing to do whatever was necessary to win. Whether a guy played 2 minutes or 20 minutes, he was going to give you everything he had. They were cheering on the bench like a college atmosphere. It was really a cool situation to do. I mean, you watch most of the NBA teams now, not all the time is everybody really cheering and doing stuff and pulling. A lot of guys are sitting there hoping somebody plays like shit so that he can get a chance to get in the game. I mean, seriously. Everyone wants to play and they think that they could do something. But that wasn't the case. Guys were there pulling and rooting for everybody and wanting to win. And there were so many similarities between that Warriors team, especially before KD came, that were so much like our team. In fact, I was writing for the Examiner at the time, and I wrote a column about it. And when I started to write about it, really got into and analyzed it, I was surprised to see how many similarities. The depth, playing 8, 9, 10 guys. I mean, like the Warriors did the same thing. They had like different centers playing. We had the 2 centers playing. The scoring had 2 main guys doing it. It was Clay and Steph. Between Clay and Steph, their point total between Jamal, who was Keith at the time, and myself was within a couple of points of one another. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you look at it and see the similarities between 2 of those teams and playing the same brand of unselfish, good, intelligent basketball. And that's what it's about for me.
That's interesting. Yeah. So Lucas wanted to know who's the best player you played against or that you played with. Best player you played against or with.
So many great players. It's crazy. I was so lucky to do that. Hell, I got to guard and play against my boyhood hero in basketball, which is Elgin Baylor. I mean, I had to pinch myself at the court, I am guarding. I'm guarding my boyhood hero. I mean, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and Sam Jones and John Havlicek. you just keep going down a list, and Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe. And I mean, it's crazy how many great players I got to play against during my career. And then sometimes with them in the All-Star games, which actually were games back then when it meant something. It's a joke right now. I mean, they shouldn't even call it, it's All-Star weekend and it's time for our All-Star exhibition. Forget being the game and forget all these records that these guys set. I mean, it's a joke. Nobody guards one another. And I'm glad they put the rule in last year. At least you had one quarter where they actually got serious about
that. Helped. That
but
definitely.
Let me tell you, we played every minute of every All-Star game when I was playing was a super competitive game with the other team trying to show that they can beat the best of the East when I was in the West. That's what it was about. There was so much pride and so much to it. Plus, to say nothing about the money. I mean, you get I think that the winning team might have got $2,500 or $3,000 back in my first year doing it. Hell, that's a fifth of my salary.
Yeah, and then you got the bragging rights. That's what really drove you guys in.
It's all about winning, and the money really wasn't a factor, but the money meant something. But it wasn't about the money. It was about saying, try to beat those guys.
Exactly. No, that's what it's about.
I have a picture from it was an all black and white picture. Somebody sent it through. I found it. I know. There are 7 guys in that picture from that All-Star game, 7 guys in the picture who are all top 50 players in that 67 All-Star game at the Cow Palace.
Wow.
The talent in that game was off the freaking charts. Oscar Robertson, right? I mean, it's crazy. Jerry Lucas, Bill Russell, Nate Thurman, Dave DeBusschere, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. That had to be so much fun for you playing against the greats. Jeff wanted to hear how you came up with the underhand free throw and why you went to that.
My father was a semi-pro player and coach, and back in the old days, they shot 2 hands overhand and 2 hands underhand at the free throw line, and so my father thought I could be better than I was. I was about a 75% shooter, and so he said, "If you give it a chance, son, I think you can do it." I didn't want to do it because back then girls did it. And so I said, I can't do that. Everybody make fun of me. And I remember like it was yesterday. Son, they can't make fun of you if you're making them. And he was right. And so when I just did it really because he was driving me nuts about trying this. So one summer, and I don't remember exactly if it was before and one day I got to go look up and see if I can find high school records. Before my junior or senior year in high school, I did it that summer. And as I started doing it, I said, wow, this is pretty good. So I really worked at it that summer. And I had enough courage to go out and do it the next season. And I remember the first game when we went out on the road to play in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. I remember it like it was yesterday. Late in the game, I'm shooting a free throw, and a guy from the stands yells, "Hey, Barry, you big sissy shooting like that." And I heard it so crystal clear from the guy next to him. What are you making fun of him for? He doesn't miss. And from that point on, I was good.
Yeah. That's awesome. What a story. That's pretty cool. And once you find something that works, why change? Just stick with it. And that's what you do. That's admirable for sure.
Do it. What's the difference does it make how you shoot it? I said, if you throw it 2 hands over your head and you can make 80 or more %, then do it that way. What the hell does it make what it looks like?
Yeah.
It's the result that matters.
Yeah, there's some
egos is that fragile that they have to worry about how they look when they're shooting their free throw? What the hell is that?
Right. There's some guys in the league that should switch to that for sure. Let's take another season ticket holder. What's up, Proc? Prakash is wondering, is it true that most of you had side jobs in addition to your NBA careers?
In my first when I first came out, yeah. In fact, tell me any first round draft pick that goes out and sells season tickets. I was selling season tickets when I came to. Yes. I went out to sell season tickets to try to make some money. And then after my first year doing stuff, I was doing radio stuff for KMBR. I was doing radio broadcasting in the off season. During the season, I focused on basketball and all, but before the season, I sold season tickets in my rookie year.
Wow, that's incredible. So you were a player and you were kind of in the front office business side.
But you can't relate to this. My contract was not guaranteed. I was offered $12,500 as the second player picked in the draft, and my contract was not guaranteed. I had to make the team, and I had no agents or anything. I negotiated it from 12.5 to 15, and I got a $3,000 signing bonus. And I'll tell you, I was as happy as a pig in slop. I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to get $18,000 for playing basketball. This is amazing." So I figured it out. The problem was they just forgot 3 zeros. That's all.
That's all it was. That's funny, man. Times have changed, man. Let's just show you how much the league has grown.
No idea. You have no idea.
Yeah. Danielle is saying, come help us sell tickets, Rick. They'd love you. They'd love your help.
Waiting list.
Did you sell them well? Did you sell pretty good, or how was your
I
how was
remember
your pitch game?
losing and playing pick. I played bracket. I played. What is it? I played in what the hell? What's the name of the game I was doing? It was in the gym. It was doing it. It was. You hit it with your hand. What's the name of they're calling that? It was a game that they play, but you hit the really hard ball with a glove on your right hand.
Handball?
Handball, I think it was. Yeah, it was handball. And it's the Olympic Club had it. I used to work out at the Olympic Club. Before the season, I was doing that. I got my nose broken working out at the Olympic Club when I was a rookie. And I was playing. I went to go and schmooze, and I did one of the vice presidents of the Bank of America invited me to go and do that and try to sell some season tickets and stuff. So hell, I said, sure, let's go. And I'm playing this guy. And he was a little overweight and stuff. And I'm going, this is going to be a joke. This guy, obviously, he was a very good college handball player. He just killed me. I mean, he came one step and he's there. He knew the angles and everything. I was running around. It was good. I mean, I had a great workout and everything, running into the walls and everything, but he just obliterated me.
Yeah.
So you can't judge him.
I've always wanted to play handball.
Yeah. Handball. But man, I tell you what, your hand got sore doing that. Was kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I'd love to try that. So with the Facebook rears of the We Believe season, can you speak to? We were just talking about season ticket holders. Can you speak to the importance of the fan base and how incredible Dub Nation was during that time? But really, for a long time, Dub Nation has been that way, and just the support. But the Bay Area was just on fire during that We Believe season. And I experienced that, and you couldn't hear yourself think, I'm sure, if you're a team coming in to play against us, because they were just outstanding and just so loud and knowledgeable and knew when to be loud. So what about the importance of an incredible fan base like the Warriors have, and how did that maybe help you as a player? Did you ever feed off of the fans and get energy from the energy that they brought?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna go out and play my hardest and best regardless, and I experienced that in the NBA. I played in the game where there were more people sitting on our benches and at the scorer's table than there were in the stands. So when they were making a statement, well, maybe they'll play without fans, I said, well, hell, I did that in the ABA. Anyway, so the thing is that you do feed off of it. I mean, you can't help but be influenced when the crowd is going nuts and you do something and people are screaming and cheering and going crazy. The adrenaline you get a little bit more adrenaline, you get a little bit more energy. And so it really does help you. And that's one of the reasons why I think they say about the home court advantage. If you have the fans that are behind you, it will give you somewhat of an advantage. There's no question about it. Now, conversely, I used to love to play on the road, because on the road was great for me because I love being able to shut the crowd down by playing good, and you make that building quiet. My God, that's like hearing all the cheers back at home. I'd love to go in there and play my butt off and just silence that crowd and send them home unhappy. I love doing that. I really did. And it was easier to focus in on it, because at home, especially if you got kids, in my case, I had my kids coming as ball boys and stuff, but early on, I mean, you got kids, you got stuff to do. I mean, you got somebody pulling you this way, then that way. Man, when you're on the road, you can really focus. And I really didn't see that the road being that much of a disadvantage. I actually enjoyed playing on the road because I could focus totally on what it was that I was supposed to do, which is to get my head in the game. And I think that's the biggest thing for you people listening. Even in your own job and stuff, you have to learn to be totally and completely into what you're doing, which means focus. Now, coach can get you to play hard, right? Because if you don't play hard, the coach is not going to play you. So you can go out and you play with energy and stuff. But if you're not focused and you're really not into it, paying attention, in basketball, you'll be a half a step late. And if you are a half a step late, you're toast. Okay? People don't understand. They say, oh, he can really beat a guy. Well, here's the thing. In basketball, especially when you get to some situation, you can have one-on-one. I don't have to go by my guy. I just got to get him on my shoulder. If I get even with him, I own him. He's done. He's done. I mean, I just have to get him even. Now, a lot of times, fortunately, I was good and quick enough and everything. I can actually get a little bit by him, which now he's really history. And unfortunately, when I went in there, I can beat the first guy. I knew I could beat the first guy the majority of the time. My problem was I couldn't go and jump over the second guy that was coming. I had to find a way to trick the second guy. These guys today, they beat the first guy and they jump over the second guy, which is a hell of an advantage.
Right. Yeah. You go on the ground game a little bit. Real talk, man. That's I love that, kicking knowledge. So you already talked about some of the business side of basketball, but what was it like officially going from being a player and then transitioning over to the business side of basketball? I know you already were selling season tickets, so you had some experience there when you played. So did that help you transition over when you officially transitioned over to the business side?
Well, I was never in the business of basketball. I mean, other than the fact I when I was coaching in the minor leagues, I actually paid the salaries of our players once to try to keep the team alive when things weren't going well, and went up to try to recruit some people and found somebody to put the money up to keep the team going. And I did that. Then unfortunately, the league folded, and it was one of the most emotional days of my life because I had a great group of guys that I coached, and we were just starting to play just great basketball, tough defense, and we were crushing people. I mean, not winning games, just we were crushing people, 20, 30 points. And unfortunately, the league folded, and we had to have the press conference, and I was there, and all the team was around me. I mean, I got really emotional about it. It kind of was like I felt like I was losing my family. I mean, I love those guys, and it was very special. And I always tried when I coached to be honest with my players. I said, look, you guys, I'm going to be honest and upfront with you guys about everything. I said, you need to be honest and upfront with me. I don't want to see you if I take you out of the game, making a big stink and let everybody know you're pissed off at me because I took you out of the game. I said, because I'm not going to go, when you make a mistake, run down the bench and grab somebody and throw them towards the scorer's table to take you out, letting everybody know I'm pissed off at you. I say, in fact, when I had players, what I would do, it'd be very simple. I'd have this thing. I would get your attention, and I say, hey, Zeke. And I get right there. Think about what you're doing. You just made a stupid mistake. If I did that, now, if I had to do that a couple of times, you're coming out of the game, and you knew that. Okay, but I wasn't going to make a big thing about it. But I didn't want them doing it. I had a guy, and I won't mention the name, playing for me one time from a big-time school who one of the NBA teams sent him down to come and play on our team. And so I guess he figured, well, he was on the NBA team. He came down, so he expected to be a starter. He expected to be treated differently. I didn't start him. I said, I got my guys here who played well and everything. Yeah, you're here. Okay, great. I'll give you an opportunity to play and do stuff, especially you're coming down to learn what we're doing. He goes in and does it. I take him out of a game, and he gives the big thing about, being all upset that I took him out of the game. I threw him off the bench, and I threw him off the team. Yeah, the other team called me up. He said, what the hell's going on? I said, hey, you know what? You can take your guy back. I don't want your guy. He's got an attitude. He thinks he's better than my guys, and he really is. Yeah. He said, and I don't want him here. I'm not dealing with this. That's the beauty of coaching in the minor leagues. You can do that. See, in the pros, they're scared to death to do that. If I had a guy, I was coaching, I don't care how much money you're making, what you're doing. If you're not going to play the game the way it should be played, you're not playing for me. Right. Very simple. But they don't have enough guts to do that. A lot of these coaches and general managers, they kiss the players' asses. Excuse my language, folks. But it's pathetic to me. I can't even stand it. I'm going to be honest and truthful with the guy, and I'm going to try to deal with him in a very positive manner. And be honest with them and just say, so you can't do that here. And you have to know, and you have to know that you can't get away with doing that. In fact, what I did when I was in the minor leagues, I got my best player and I said to him, I said, look, here's the deal. And we're playing in the exhibit. I said, look, I want you to go ahead and do something stupid out there and make a really bad mistake and do everything because I'm going to take you out of the game. What? I said, yes.
Just so you can use that as an example.
Every player has to know that if you can't get away with making a mistake, they sure as hell can't get away with making a mistake.
And you told him to go out and make a mistake, so just so you can show the rest of the players that you're going to discipline this guy and use that as an example for everybody else.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I've never heard that coaching strategy before, but I'm guessing it was effective.
Have you ever had a coach? You've ever had a coach ask you before the season? I asked my players when I coached. I said, I want two different things from you. I said, first of all, I want you to give me an evaluation of your skills and talents, your strengths and weaknesses, offense and defensively. Okay. So I asked for that. Why? I want to find out if you're being honest, because I already know what the hell you can do. I already know what you can do and what you can't do, but I want to know, are you going to be honest about it?
If they have like an inflated view of it.
Tells me a little something about you. Okay. The second thing I asked for is I want 1, 2, or 3 plays that sometime in your career you either had run for you or a play that you always wished was run for you. Now, the reason I'm doing that, and I never had any coach, I say, here's why. You are going to tell me by my looking at those plays, where on the court do you have the most confidence in your ability to score? Now, for what I want to do with my offense, can I put the ball in your hands where you're showing me you want it? If what I have, I can't do it, I'm using one of your plays.
I like that. That's cool. I'm sure the players like that. I think, and what you're talking about too with players that allow themselves to be coached. That's why I respect guys like Tim Duncan, the incredible career he had, and obviously Steph and a lot of the Warriors, Klay Thompson too, all the guys that allow themselves to be coached and they don't have that pride to where they can't take a scolding from their coach and react the right way. And a lot of guys can't handle that. And they don't allow their coach to almost treat them the same way as far as just holding them accountable as the rest of the players. And it screws up the accountability for the rest of the guys.
Well, it screws up the chemistry of the team is what it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing. People say everybody should be treated equally. No. That's not true. Everybody should not be treated equally on a basketball team or any kind of sports team, or even everybody should be treated fairly. Big difference between the two, because you're on my team, and if I had you on my team and I got Steph Curry, I'm not going to treat you exactly the same way I treat Steph Curry. Okay. Right. But I'm going to treat you fairly for what you do and be totally honest with you. And I think you have to, as a coach, earn the respect of the players so that you know it. So I'll give you an example of what I did in one game. I remember it specifically. I had a guy was playing a bunch of minutes. He'd played 20 minutes, 20 more even in the game. The game was going along doing stuff, and I didn't play him in the game. And we won the game, and things are going. The first thing I did when the game was over, I pulled him aside, and I said, look, don't worry about what just happened. I'm not upset with you. It was just a situation that things were going away. I thought they were good. I didn't want to screw around with what was happening. It has nothing to do with you. Everything is cool. Don't worry about it. Now, he may be still pissed off at me because I didn't play him, but at least he knows that it's not a problem or an issue and makes it into something more than it was. Okay. Right. And that's why communication is so important, that you have to let people know about that. My son John played on the Warriors one time doing it, and he was playing 18 minutes a game. His stats are unbelievable, doing great. And all of a sudden, he won a whole bunch of games and never even played. I said, did you go in and talk to the coach? No. Nobody even went up to him to tell him why he wasn't playing. So, you don't know what can go on in a player's head. He can get so screwed up doing it. All they needed to do to go to him is they were trying to cater to a player that they wanted to get re-signed or whatever. And they just said, look, we're not going to – I'm probably not going to play you like I did before. You might not even play at all, but don't worry about it. This is what I got to do right now, and it's okay. Now, I said, you may not be happy, but at least you have peace of mind to know that you're not in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one thing that Coach Kerr is so good at, is communicating with guys, getting the most out of guys. Adeline wants to know, what do you think of how the game is played today as opposed to when you played?
Don't like
the 3-point shots and everything. The way the game is
no mid-range.
Too much one-on-one.
Too much one-on-one. I don't mind one-on-one, but too much one-on-one. I mean, come on. I mean,
the Rockets.
How can you enjoy watching that? What's going on with the Rockets when that happens? I mean, he had the ball for 22 of the 24 seconds. And I mean, oh my God. Now, I think he's a hell of a player. He's an amazing offensive player. Amazing. I mean, really is. But if I
respect it.
And he can pass the ball. He's not selfish. But the thing is, the guys just get caught up standing watching, and he does his thing. I can tell you right now, if I played with him, I'd make him have to pass me the ball, because I'd be setting my guy up and back cutting and doing stuff. Now, if he can throw the ball, he's going to look really bad.
They stand. His teammates just get caught standing. And sometimes you see guys trying to move, but it's almost like, why am I even trying to move? Because I know this isn't what we do.
Yeah, but he'll get the ball. If you get open, he'll get you the ball.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, then he's the one that's going to look bad, and all of a sudden it's going to come down on him. But the players just stand there and they watch him. And that's what I don't like about it. And then a lot of teams, and they're starting to pick up on it a little bit, is that you got to pass the ball, move the ball. I was taught, the way the game is taught to play, here's the deal. The more decisions you force the defense to make, the more the likelihood that someone's going to make a mistake. So if you do that, and if you have players who know how to play and are smart, they'll capitalize on that. And I'll give you the perfect example. Game 5, Cleveland Warriors. Warriors had a chance to sweep them. To Cleveland's credit, they sucked it up and they played a hell of a game and got a victory back in Cleveland. They're coming to play Game 5 back in the Coliseum, right? Mm-hmm. In the arena. Cleveland gets up. Warriors come back on them. But Cleveland could have folded the tent right then. Game over. Game 7. It's Game 5. We're done. We're finished. Nope. They played tough. Third quarter, right there. Still a good game. And this is why you play the way that the Warriors play and why you want to do that. I remember it's so clear, and I wish that somebody had talked about it before. But anyway, So they usually run a lot of stuff, and Steph or Clay will come out for staggered screens and run from one side and go through and wind up coming out in the corner. And I don't remember exactly if it was Steph or Clay. Either one is one dangerous. You got to be worried about them. So as they come off, it happened to be LeBron and J.R. Smith. They didn't communicate. They both were worried about the shooter coming out. They both jumped out. The ball went right inside, dunk.
They get that.
Screener. They did that twice within a minute period of time, broke the game open. Now Cleveland was finished. That doesn't happen to most teams because they don't run that type of offense.
Yeah, totally right. The screen setting, and then you got the gravity of the defense when it comes to Steph and Clay, and then the unselfishness.
Well, let me get you there too, so people could get some real education here. You don't set screens. There's no such thing as setting a screen. I even heard Jeff Van Gundy say he didn't set a very good screen.
Well, it's not a flipping of screens.
No. You don't slip. You don't set a screen. You as my teammate, you put yourself in a great position to allow me to make you a screener. You don't move. You're a stationary object. That's why guys move all the time, because their teammates don't do a good enough job of running their man into you to make you a screener. You don't have a screener unless I make you a screener. And that's why the guys all move and they wind up picking fouls. If the officials ever called it, Kevin Garnett would have fouled out of every game he played in almost. He moves all the time because he had teammates that didn't know how to hell use a guy that could make himself a screener. And people don't understand that. Nobody ever talks about that. That's why when I watch games, I go nuts listening to some of the analysts and stuff and say, what game are you guys watching? You know? I mean, seriously, you got to learn how to set your man up, and you use him. You're going to come and put yourself and put your body on the line for me. I'm going to utilize that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. The guy running off the screen has a huge role to play in that as well, making sure there's not a moving screen there. So what are some of your takeaways? Go ahead.
No, I said making sure that I come so close to you, nobody can step through.
Yeah. Body to body, yeah.
That's how I make you a screener.
That's truth. What are some of your takeaways from this season? Obviously, everything's on hold right now. And
for the Warriors, I mean, for the Warriors, obviously it's a write-off. But these guys, I said, I wish the guys on the team, I hope those guys understand and realize what an amazing opportunity has been presented to them.
The young guys
to go out and establish themselves and show that they have the ability to be a part of a team by playing really good basketball. And some guys faltered badly at that, and some guys took advantage of that. And it was an incredible opportunity for those young men to have a chance to show that they deserve to be on this team. But let's face it, next year they're going to be back. They're going to be contending. They're going to be depending on what they do with the draft pick and who they wind up getting, whether they trade for somebody established or whether the new player that they get really can play, which a lot of times that's not always the case because they make terrible decisions. But at least the Warriors have made some good decisions. And here's the other thing about Steve that you were talking about, all these players and Steph and Curry. Here's the deal. A coach is like the manager of a business. You have to evaluate your talent and what can they and can't do. And then you have to utilize them effectively and efficiently. You can't to go ahead and have Steph Curry only be a passer as opposed to a shooter would be insane, right? I mean, it'd be insane. And so, but yet you see times that coaches do that. They take a player, they force him to play the game the way they want it played, and they don't utilize all of his talents and skills. And that's why players get traded. They go somewhere, oh my God, man, he's really blossomed now. No, what's happened, he's actually got the chance to play to do what he could do at the other team, but he was never allowed to do it. Okay? I mean, that's what happens. And it happens so often in sports. And, and so credit to the coaches that do that. And Steve is obviously intelligent enough to put these guys in a situation where he allowed them to do the kind of things that they're capable of doing. And then the players have to be willing. Just like when KD came, first thing they asked me, what did I think? I said, I think it's unbelievable. I know Wyver is getting mad at KD. He gave them everything he could. He wants to be on a championship team. But I said, Draymond Green is going to be a factor. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, Draymond Green has to understand that he no longer needs to be a scorer. They don't need Draymond Green to score a bunch of points. If he can get you 8, 10 points, whatever, that's fine. Rebound, defense, facilitate with the ball, which he could do. And he had a lot of triple-double games. He didn't have big scoring games. And he did exactly what he needed to do to make that team better.
He did. Right. And I'm looking forward to next season with Draymond coming back and Steph and Clay healthy. And the young guys, Eric Paschall, I think we learned a lot about them. And they're definitely going to be back to contender status, contending for a championship. And I'm sure they're all looking forward to that too. But you personally, you started a podcast, no? How's that going?
Warriors 24, I do. I talk about the team, and there haven't been a lot to talk about. So we talk about other things in the NBA as well, because it would be kind of depressing if I had to just talk about the Warriors this past season. I would have had to go into a state of depression.
Yeah. So you've been talking about a lot of different things. What else have you been doing during your shelter in place?
Yeah, well, Cyrus, my co-host, actually used to be my producer when I worked at KMBR. So we wound up hooking up again, and he does a great job. He's won some awards. He's teaching and doing stuff now, and we have a lot of fun talking about a lot of different things. And so that you can find that on Apple Podcast and do it. We were doing it weekly now, but of course now so we did it. We did it last week when they did stuff talking a little bit about the Last Dance and talking about stuff going on. So it's kind of fun just talking basketball.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. Huh?
Kind of like we're doing right here.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So what else have you been doing during your shelter in place? You got to tell me about this.
A lot of business. I'm trying to make ball game. Well, they forgot 3 zeros, like I said, on my contract, so I'm trying still to work on a lot of business things. I'm actually doing some very exciting stuff right now. I got a new beverage thing that's coming out called Rejuice that's pretty cool, and then something for kids as well. So I think the mother's going to go nuts over that because it's got way less sugar and calories in it and all the crazy stuff these kids are drinking. I think they're going to love what it is, and the flavors are awesome. They're off the chart. I know there's Rejuice. It's called Rejuice.
Okay, and it's for children. It's a children's drink.
Well, it's for adults, and then Rejuice for kids.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's a fun thing to do, and then a lot of things in the telehealth world, a whole telehealth program and stuff called Vijuvia Life Centers, looking out for people to keep everybody healthy. Yeah, I got a lot of things I'm involved with doing, and then I try to get in some fishing when I can, and I play a lot of pickleball. And
pickleball,
pickleball is awesome.
Explain pickleball.
Paddles, they're paddles, and they're composite stuff, and they have all different people make all kinds of different composite paddles. But you're on a smaller court like a tennis court, and you have the pickleball is actually a big wiffle ball, and it's so much fun. It's fast. There's a great workout. You don't kill your body. I used to play a lot of tennis. Love tennis. Tennis is so hard on my shoulders and my elbow and my knees, but pickleball, I can go out there and play that for 2.5 hours. Just have a great time, a great workout, a lot of action. There's a thing called the kitchen that's between the net and the line that you can't go into. And I used to hate that thing because I would always go into it because in tennis, you're following through, you're going all the way up to the net, but you can't do that. But you can make the adjustment pretty quickly. But I love it. And playing, my son Canyon is with us, staying now because he's in between stuff. He was supposed to be champion. He was on the World Cup championship team for 3x3. That's the only gold medal the USA had never won. And they won undefeated last year, won the World Cup over in Amsterdam. And then he got chosen also and tried out to make the qualifying team for the Olympics for 3x3. And they were in the middle of training when all this craziness hit, and they canceled the qualifying tournament in India. And then, of course, they postponed the Olympics. So hopefully next year when he goes to play in the qualifying tournaments, they finish third or better, they'll have a chance to be in the Olympics, which would be just an awesome experience for him, which I'm happy for. And he's played in the G League, doesn't really get the chance to do the things he's capable of doing. And and so anyway, he's a good player. He's a very good player, and unfortunately, he's not getting the opportunity to do the things he can do. That's not a father talking. I know basketball. Okay, I know if somebody can play or they can't play. My son can play, and somebody's missing the boat on him.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll continue to work hard and he'll get his opportunity. But yeah, I think I saw pickleball. I went to Barcelona. Is that something they play in Spain and other countries a lot? Because I went to Barcelona. I think I saw that happen.
They're playing it all kinds of places. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the country. I mean, I know there's a place called the Villages up here in north of Tampa in Florida and everything, and they've got some ridiculous number of pickleball courts and older people are playing it because you don't have to run a big distance, and it's just really catching on for a lot of people, and even the younger people are starting to get into it. My son Canyon, who was a all-state doubles tennis champion in high school and everything, he's gotten into it, and I mean he's gotten so much better. I mean, when he first started out, we were about equal. Now I can't even come close to playing against him. He's so fast and quick at his age. But he loves it, and he loves playing it as well.
That's awesome. So I gotta shout out the Warriors Community Foundation. They're doing great work. Don't forget, all you season ticket members, you can donate to the Warriors Community Foundation Disaster Relief Fund, warriors.com/foundation. And we also got to shout out Michelob Ultra. They're doing a really cool thing. until May 30th. Michelob Ultra is donating $1 for every case of Michelob Ultra sold to local chapters of United Way on the West Coast, including California. And then the local chapters of United Way, they're providing relief for those left vulnerable by the pandemic, providing services like food, shelter, etc. for the community. So great work there. They're stepping up. Big ups to them. And they're a brand that's committed to health and wellness. So they want to support and ensure health and wellness for everyone during these really tough times. So that's great that they're doing that. And that's super encouraging.
Michelob, they must be raising Ultra. They must be raising some money, because I saw a video of something guys walking through and showing empty beer cans and bottles and stuff, because everybody is locked in. There's not a whole lot of people to do, so they got a lot more time to go ahead and down a couple of those Michelob Ultras. So,
yeah,
go ahead and enjoy it.
I know, right?
Hey, not only are you feeling good, you're helping a good cause. That's also
exactly. You got a good buzz going, and you can feel good about the cause you're helping.
Hey, donate some more money to them,
Exactly. And you could donate directly to United Way at united.michelobultra.com. So, Rick, we gotta go with this trivia question here. We got a bunch of them, but maybe we could pick out two of them and go with those. I know you had a couple that you wanted to ask, but what was the one you said? I'll let you ask the one you said about, was it your last 2 years? How many free throws?
Oh yeah, how many free throws did I miss combined in my last 2 seasons in the NBA?
How many free throws did Rick Barry miss in his last 2 seasons combined? Go. The winner gets a signed Rick Barry jersey, and the Warriors will reach out to you. So I'm watching the comments. Don't look it up on Google. Well, I guess you can't, but I mean, whoever gets it first, wins.
Yeah.
Fastest one. Let's see.
Throw some guesses out there.
Proc, I think you should get this. You're a student of the game. I know, Prakash. Adeline, okay, we got it. We're waiting for them. They're thinking. They're thinking. Adeline went with 0. Mark is going with 5.
I wish it was those.
Aaron is going with 5. Karen is saying 0. Mark Fisher 11. Just stop us at the right one, Rick. Adeline said 6. Sonny said 3. Andrew said 19.
That's it.
Andrew got no. I think it wasn't Andrew first. It was Kyle, I think. Wait, was it Kyle? I always miss who gets it first. These comes in so fast. Was it Andrew or was it Kyle? I think Danny or Karen, someone's gonna have to help here, but I think it might have been Andrew. But great job, Andrew and Kyle. Everybody.
Hell, if it was that close, give them both one. Come on, you
guys.
Give
them both. Okay, I'm with it. We got one more here. Let's do one more. Okay, let's say we could stick with the free throw line. Okay, let's do this. What is Rick Barry's career high in points scored in a game? In a single game, what is Rick Barry's career high?
It was more than 19.
Definitely more than 19. Andrew says, thanks. All right, we got another one. We said we're doing 2 of them. I hope that's okay. 64.
That's
Kenny
right.
got it. Kenny got it. Great job, Kenny. Awesome.
The good thing is we won that game. I thought we had lost it. I had to look back. We actually won that game, so thank God for that. I would have hated to have scored 64 and lose.
I know, right? It's all about getting that W. You did your thing in that game.
I'd rather score and win than score 64 and lose.
Yeah, basically, definitely. Awesome, man. Well, it was great talking to you, man. Anything else you want to say to the people, to the season ticket members? Obviously, we're going through a tough time with this pandemic. Anything encouraging you'd like to say?
Just follow the rules and the regulations. We've been dealt the bad hand. In life, they always say you gotta play the cards you're dealt, and so just do that. I mean, that's what it is. If you play bridge, you know that. In bridge, you have to play bad hands. In life, you got to play bad hands, and don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. It's not going to do any good. If you really feel sorry, cry, get over it, and try to figure out a way to do something positive, because you got to be proactive. You're not going to change the bad things that already happened. They're in the past. You can't change the past. So just focus on today. Do the best you can. if you got some stuff coming up, try to make sure you're prepared properly for that and be proactive, and don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. That doesn't do you any good. You're going to get stressed out. You're going to cause yourself all kinds of other problems, and just try to have a positive attitude about it. Remember, and this is a hard thing to do for people, everything in life happens for a reason. And probably right now you're saying, well, why in the hell is this happening? You probably are not going to figure it out now. But somewhere down the road, you're going to look back. I've had it be as much as 2 years plus that something was going on in my life and something that didn't take place. And I finally understood when it finally happened, what I wanted to happen. And I knew why it took over 2 years. And so you just have to be positive, and hang in there. So God bless all of you. Stay healthy. I hope you're not impacted in a negative fashion with any of your friends or family members or yourself with the COVID-19 virus. And let's hope we can get back to some sense of normalcy and, get back to having basketball again. It'd be just horrendous if we're not able to go and have that done. So we'll see how it plans out. They just canceled, as I said, the Big Three. I was coaching in that in the summer. They postponed that as well, too. And I just found out I had a cruise get canceled. I was really looking forward to going on. I had my fishing trip to Alaska canceled.
Me too, with the cruise. Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, it's so anyway, and I know in some situations people say, oh, well, yeah, cruise and all this great stuff. Hey, it's still things that's part of my life. I mean, it's a disappointment to me and everything, but I'm not going to cry over it. I'm going to go and figure out some way to do it and work around it.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going through things much more difficult than that. And I'm sorry for you that you have to do that. And so you definitely have my sympathy on that. But again, be positive and try to make the most out of these tough situations you're dealing with. So God bless all of you.
Definitely. Well said. Wise words. And thank you so much for that. It was great talking to you, Rick. And what he said, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
And one thing I'm glad about, I'm glad that I didn't have to go write and spell your name all the time.
Hey, people still can't say my name. I got Clay calling me Kalani. Steph calls me Khaleesi. Steph was just messing around because Clay did it. But.
Yeah, Khaleesi, yeah, dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway, I love it. Those guys have fun. But yeah, great talking to you, man.
Take care.
I'll be looking up that podcast, and I'm gonna
take good care of Christina. Christina's great to me.
I will. Yes, definitely. All right, brother. Take care. Bye, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye.